With thousands of young Americans spearheading Occupy Wall Street protests every day, it would be very unwise to label our generation as an apathetic one. Yet it is a sad testament to our electoral process, Mr. Chairman, that so many of the protesters involved literally tell us that they find camping out an easier and more productive form of political engagement here in 2011 than they do the process of casting a ballot.
That was Our Time's Matthew Siegel on Capitol Hill just yesterday, speaking to Congress on the impact of stricter voting rights on the young, college students to be precise. According to the Brennan Center at NYU's law school, 2/3 of states have introduced bills effectively making voting more difficult by imposing stricter voter ID restrictions and limiting voter registration opportunities. The changes could affect more than 5 million potential voters, many of them students who live out of state while they are in attendance at universities and colleges. Supporters say the new laws are necessary to stop voter fraud at the polls. But our next guest has a different view, and breaking it down with us today, fresh off his trip to Washington, D.C., Matt Siegel. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you.
Is there any validity, as you see it, to the fraud argument?
In its entire history, Indiana has never been able to prove one case of voter fraud. In the state of Kansas, there have been more UFO sightings than voter fraud. Voter fraud essentially does not exist. And the truth of the matter is, the real deterrent for voter fraud is the felony conviction and the 5 years in prison, as well as the hefty fine for committing it, not the fact that these ID laws that just make it needlessly complicated for people to vote are stopping it.
You said before we came out that when it comes to the young, the Jim Crow laws are back. What are the solutions at this point to defend the voter rights of those that are threatened by this?
Well, one, we need more uniform standards because we have 50 different states with 50 different laws, and certain states can allow for partisan manipulation, where they say, we know we can't win the election on issues, so we're going to make it particularly difficult for one group to register to vote. So let's allow people to vote in Texas with their concealed right to carry license, but not a student ID. And that's exactly what they've done. Two is, we obviously need to modernize the voter registration process. My generation finds it insane that you can bank online, you can pay bills online, taxes, you can buy and sell things online, yet you can't register to vote online except for in 8 or 9 states now, and all of them have not even gone into effect. And then lastly, we need to make sure that colleges and universities step up and do more to register young people, because right now they're not fulfilling their duty, and in fact they have circumvented registering students at freshman orientation or with matriculation, which they should be doing because they claim it's an administrative burden or it costs too much. But as far as I'm concerned, they can't be doing enough. It's part of their mission.
And then we've only got a few seconds left here, but I want to make sure I get this. Your analysis of the dispersal and disruption in Zuccotti Park, and more broadly, the impact on the occupation and the obvious increased aggression they are facing across the country from police forces.
Well, my take on this is as follows. People who question my generation as an apathetic one, you need to look at all the energy. What's so disgusting about all these voting rights problems is that young people are no longer viewing voting as an effective outlet to express their voice in society. But at the end of the day, what is so insidious about that is we only have one person, one vote in a democracy. So if we don't vote, we'll never be able to hold our politicians accountable and to hire and fire them.
And even if we do vote, if 94% of the time the person who wins is one who raises the most money, we are participating in a fraud that is an auction while we're being told it's an election.
Just note this, even whether Zuccotti Park is the place, it's a victory because we've changed the message in that we know government's bought off and we can't keep it that way.
And that becomes the #1 issue, which is good for everybody that wants to get to all the other issues.
You got
it. Matt, it's a pleasure. Congratulations on what appeared to be certainly a privilege to be able to testify the way that you did.
Got to keep fighting.
Exactly.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you. We are back right after this.